Some of the most expensive mistakes in software engineering don't come from bad code. They come from solving the wrong problem perfectly. In this series, we are exploring something deeper than technical skill. We are exploring engineering judgment, the ability to make decisions that actually improve the system. And the first place where engineering judgment shows up is how you frame the problem. Because once the problem is framed incorrectly, everything that follows, design, architecture, code, testing, it starts moving in the wrong direction. Here's a situation that happens with engineering teams all the time. A production system starts running slowly. Users are complaining. Dashboards show high latency. So the engineering team goes to work. They optimize database queries, they introduce caching, they refactor a service that looked inefficient. After 2 weeks of work, the system becomes faster. Technically, everything looks better. But the complaints from the users don't stop. Why? Because the real problem had nothing to do with performance. Users didn't actually need real-time updates. They only needed the data refreshed every few minutes. A simple batch update would have solved the problem in a day. But instead, the team spent weeks optimizing something that was never the real issue. This happens more often than you think. A user experience issue becomes a performance optimization. A product problem becomes a technical architecture problem. The team works hard, the solution looks impressive, but the impact is small. Because the original problem was never correctly framed. And this is one of the most common patterns in software engineering. We become very good at solving problems, but we often don't stop to ask a more important question first. Are we solving the right problem? And that's why strong engineers spend more time understanding the problem than jumping into the solution. One of the most common mistakes engineers make is confusing symptoms with problems. A slow system, high error rate, customer complaints. The problem might be completely different. Maybe the API contract is unclear. Maybe the workflow is poorly designed. Maybe the product requirement itself is flawed. Good engineers fix symptoms. Strong engineers follow the symptoms deeper into the system until they find the actual cause. Another trap engineers fall into is framing every issue as a technical problem. But many engineering problems are actually system problems. A deployment failure might be caused by unclear ownership, poor testing strategy, weak release processes, not bad code. If we frame the problem as fix the code, we miss the system that produced the issue in the first place. Engineering judgment requires stepping back and asking, is this really a technical problem or a system problem? Another reason engineers solve the wrong problem is what I call the local fix trap. We often focus on the part of the system that is closest to us. If you work on the backend, the problem must be in the backend. If you own the database must be the bottleneck. And so, we optimize the component we control. But complex systems rarely fail in just one place. When engineers focus only on their local component, they improve that piece while the real problem remains somewhere else in the system. Strong engineers deliberately step back and ask, is the problem really inside this component or somewhere else? There is another question that often reveals the real problem. Instead of asking, how do we fix this, ask, what outcome are we actually trying to achieve? When you shift the conversation to outcomes, the real problem often becomes clearer. Sometimes the solution becomes simpler. Sometimes the solution becomes non-technical. And sometimes the best engineering decision is to not build anything at all. Because when the wrong problem is framed, the cost goes far beyond wasted engineering time. Because once a team commits to a solution, many other decisions start aligning around it. Architecture decisions, infrastructure choices, testing strategies. Entire roadmaps begin to form around a solution that was based on the wrong assumption. And by the time someone realizes the original problem was misframed, the system has already grown in the wrong direction. This is why experienced engineers treat problem framing as a critical engineering activity, as compared to just the beginning of work. Getting the problem right early often saves months of efforts later. So here is a simple mental model. Before you solve a problem, pause and ask yourself 4 questions. First, is this a symptom or the real problem? Second, is this a technical issue or a system issue? Third, is the problem here or somewhere else? And fourth, what outcome are we actually trying to achieve? If these questions change how the problem is framed, they will often change the entire solution. And this is one of the biggest differences between engineers who simply execute and engineers who develop strong engineering judgment. Because solving problems is important, but solving the right problem is what actually moves systems forward. And this is only the first step in developing real engineering judgment. If you would like to see the full progression from execution to engineering authority, you can explore the complete engineering judgment framework at paragchitness.com.